The courtroom was buzzing like a disturbed hive that morning. Heavy wooden doors closed behind the crowd, sealing in a mixture of tension, whispers, and the sharp smell of paper and ink. In the center of it all, a young pregnant woman sat rigidly on a wooden bench, her hands clasped tightly over her belly. Her face was pale and drawn, dark circles under her eyes from nights of crying. Every breath she took seemed heavier than the last. Across from her, a woman with perfectly styled hair and a sharp designer suit crossed her legs and smirked, her painted nails tapping on the armrest as if this were an entertainment show and not someone's life. The pregnant woman's heart raced, and before anyone could steady her, she swayed and crumpled forward. Gasps echoed around the courtroom as she fainted, the world going dark for her. If you believe in kindness, compassion, and second chances, please pause this video now to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel, Hidden Hearts. Stories like this one can change how people see each other, and your support helps bring more of them to life. The paramedics came rushing in as the bailiff called for order. In that brief moment of confusion, the smirk on the other woman's face faltered just slightly, like a mask slipping. The judge called for a recess, and the pregnant woman was revived with water and seated carefully again. But inside her, waves of humiliation and despair rolled on. She had been fighting for months to prove her truth, that the man she had loved for years, the father of the child inside her, had been living a double life. His mistress had flaunted wealth, expensive gifts, and a polished exterior, while she, the lawful wife, had been left to struggle in silence. And now, this courtroom was her last chance at dignity, at justice, at protection for her unborn child. As the session resumed, time seemed to slow. The judge, an older man with steady eyes and a calm voice, opened a large envelope. The sound of the paper sliding free was louder than a thunderclap in that silent room. Every eye was on him. The mistress sat upright, her lips still curved into that confident, mocking smile. She believed the day was hers. But the judge began to read, his voice steady, each word a stone in a rising wall. He recited the DNA test results. He spoke of paternity. He laid out a timeline of deception. And slowly, the mistress's smile shrank until it disappeared entirely, replaced by a look of shock, then panic. The man she had tried to claim, the fortune she had tried to secure, the life she had mocked. The evidence now told another story. For the pregnant woman, those words were like the first rays of sun after a long storm. Tears filled her eyes as relief flooded through her. It wasn't victory she felt, not triumph over another woman, but the release of a burden she had carried for too long. She wasn't crazy. She wasn't weak. She had been wronged, but now the truth was out. The judge ordered immediate financial support for her and her child, reprimanded the man for his deceit, and turned his attention to the mistress with a stern warning about perjury and manipulation. The courtroom, once filled with whispers and judgment, now sat stunned in silence. She walked out of that courtroom slowly, one hand on her belly, the other holding her head high. She wasn't thinking about revenge or shame anymore. She was thinking about her child's future, about rebuilding, about the small apartment she would fill with warmth and safety. She didn't need to prove anything to anyone anymore. Justice had spoken, and the truth had set her free. People in the corridor stepped aside, some even nodding quietly, their eyes soft with empathy. The courthouse doors opened to the daylight, and a cool breeze washed over her face like a blessing. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Hidden Hearts. Stories like this remind us that truth can prevail, and no one deserves to be silenced. Before you leave, we'd love to hear from you. Comment below and tell us what moment in this story moved you the most. Your words help build a community of compassion.